Expanding Your Search and Stopping for Directions podcast with Brent Bailey. And at the tech booth, Jody Cook-Bailey and Luke Cardio. We are growing our circles of connections and knowledge together with encouraging conversations and positive communications. And now, Brent Bailey.
And welcome everybody to Expanding Your Search and Stopping for Directions. It's Brent Bailey, and I hope you're having a great day wherever you are. It is Wednesday, and I hope that it's, you know what that means?
Hump day.
Over the hump. That's right. I'm joined right now over at the tech booth by Jody and by Luke. And guys, we are here, second show of season 3.
Yes, we are.
Jumped right into the middle of it, and I got another good one for you today. As Dr. Increase Bob Harrison will be with us again today.
Yes.
To talk about making 2021 your year of fresh increase.
Yes.
And so, anyway, there is, you know. Lots of we always like to have a little something for you.
Well, yeah, we do. And today is
stuff.
National Chocolate Cake Day.
And it could not be a better day for us. I mean, that is just you know, it's just a great day because
like chocolate cake.
Who doesn't like chocolate cake?
Nope. I don't know who doesn't.
My mom would make me one every year for my birthday.
You want to see some pictures of some chocolate
let's
cake?
Let's see
so
it.
we can get everybody drooling? Let's do that.
Yep, it is.
There's that one.
There's that one. There it is. And now,
that looks so good.
Whoever did that did a good job.
Really
it's
pretty,
all
right?
smooth, and then the decorative piping around the top there is very sharp.
Good word.
And crisp.
Good word.
Yeah.
Now, I asked Jody to pull this one right here because this right here growing up was a high watermark. Anytime you went to Frisch's or to Shoney's, which is Frisch's is kind of a local big boy. Shoney's kind of went nationwide, but Frisch's was kind of a regional, Ohio, Kentucky, generalized area. They the Frisch's family must have, but they had the chocolate cake in there like this, and it's actually called hot fudge cake because they poured all that hot fudge over.
Yeah.
But that right there
is very good.
Was huge pictures, posters in the menu everywhere. You could see that everywhere.
Yep.
So
everybody can order it. Looks good, right?
I don't know. I know he's not very popular to talk about anymore, but Bill Cosby used to do a bit about chocolate cake.
Yes, he did.
That was one of the funniest things ever. And so, happy National Chocolate Cake Day. Go have some ho-hos. or King
if you don't want to make any. Or, you know, if you're in Florida.
Or the Hostess chocolate cupcakes or whatever.
In Florida, Publix makes a phenomenal chocolate cake.
You know what? Publix just about does everything.
Yeah, they really do.
Excellently. So
yes.
You know what I like? I like the chocolate cake pops from Starbucks. Yeah.
Right.
They are good.
Yeah, they're good.
Stick them right in there. So,
yep.
And where's your favorite chocolate cake from? Where's the place that you like to get the best? Is it your homemade one, or do you buy it at a store or a bakery? Where's your favorite
homemade.
from? Yeah,
homemade.
homemade's
I like
pretty
the homemade.
tough to beat.
Yeah.
Yes, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
Is my homemade.
Agreed.
It's very good.
So now that we've got everybody off their New Year's diet, what next?
The next one is a library Shelfie day. Now,
this is good for all you aspiring authors out there to do this, because if I understand correctly.
If you understand correctly.
Explain it to us one more time.
Okay, so basically, a lot of people that love books, or maybe you go to the library, maybe you have your own bookcase with a bunch of your books.
Correct.
Okay, people that are aspiring readers or whatever, they line up their books in a certain order.
Like
now,
I said... And then you take a picture in front of it?
Yeah. They take a picture in front of it. So, but you can put it in
I'm
order.
modeling very badly.
And you can put it in color, the spine color order, title order. Maybe you can put it even in the order of publication, whatever it might be. And then once you've gotten it in order, the way you like it, take a picture of it and post it.
And it doesn't have to be your book. It could be anybody.
No. Anybody. I mean,
if you want to look
have
smart,
a library
like
at your house, or
like if you're
bookshelf.
reading, some kind of real enlightened amount of novels, and you want to make people see.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know our good friend Dave Martin is famous for doing this. Like, he goes and literally puts his book or whatever book he's promoting at the time, or all of his books, on a shelf in places like airport bookstores, and takes a picture of it there. Like, look, you could pick up my book here. Or he went into Joel Osteen's office and put it on his shelf. He's done it in my office, which, of course, me and Joel are kind of on the same level of notoriety.
How was he doing this past weekend?
Yeah, he's good. He's always real good. Anyway, Dave would go and to all these famous ministers and put his book on their bookshelf and take a picture in front of it. So that's what today is, Library Shelfie Day. Organize your books.
And the person I always think about when I've seen this is Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang Theory.
There you go. I mean, and that would be books that we don't even understand.
No.
And let's be honest.
But putting stuff in order is, if you watch Big Bang Theory, you know that he's kind of like that. He's got that.
Let's be honest. If you're the type of person that has a lot of books, you probably like to show them off.
Right. So, yeah.
I have many leather-bound books. Yes, exactly. So, okay, coming up in about a week and a half is going to be the Super Bowl. We have no idea who's going to be in it yet.
Yep.
And so what? And I shouldn't say that because we probably do by the time this show airs. But as of the taping, we don't know who's going to be in it. And so, but we wanted to talk a little bit about Super Bowl party planning.
Yes.
Yeah. And so there's a couple of things. There's a list that's been put out on the internet of the most popular foods for a Super Bowl party.
Yep.
What do you think first was? What do you think?
Chocolate cake.
That's a good guess. Jody, what do you think?
I'm going to say cocktail wieners.
Cocktail wieners did make the top 10.
Okay. Then cheese.
Go ahead.
Cheese dip and chips.
All right, that is also up there. But the number one food item for your Super Bowl party this year is chicken wings.
Chicken wings.
Yeah. Chicken wings is number one, followed by guacamole with chip dip.
Okay,
there you go, Jody.
There we go.
Chili was number 3.
Right.
I'm still surprised pizza hasn't cracked this list.
I know, but you know what?
Chili is number 3. Number 4, pigs in a blanket. Mm-hmm. Number 5, cocktails, and not wieners, just cocktails.
Cocktails, drinks.
All right, drinks. Number 6 is pizza. Now that's surprising to me. I don't know. I'm kind of shocked because it's so easy. You just call up whoever and have it delivered. But it's number 6 on the list for popular items at a Super Bowl party, followed by spinach and artichoke dip, football-shaped cookies, buffalo chicken dip, which that has become really popular lately. Yeah. Where you take chicken and the buffalo chicken and you kind of blend it into a dip
with cream cheese,
and chips and all that. And that's actually jumped up there. And number 10 was, any guesses?
What was it?
I have a guess.
Okay,
guess.
Is it the long, big sandwich?
A sub?
No.
What about meatballs?
No. Ribs.
Okay. Ribs.
I know. I've never gone to a Super Bowl party and had ribs.
I mean, everything at a Super Bowl party is kind of like messy anyway. Yep. However, a lot of it is finger food.
The giant Subway sandwiches are number 13. So we're not going to go into the whole list. But
when I think of sports party, I think of that huge sandwich.
Let me tell you a quick story. Got less than a minute. Every year we would do a Super Bowl party when we were youth pastors, and my partner Keith Neighbor would always cook bratwursts for the leaders, and we would have these delicious bratwursts with the spicy mustard, and it was so good because Keith's a chef, and so he would cook that for us. And so that I'm surprised that didn't make the top 10 in that kind of thing. So anyway, so our question of the day is, drop in the comments below, what are your plans for Super Bowl Sunday? What food item do you look forward to having? I personally am going to make beer cheese soup like I always do.
Yeah, that'll be good.
And it's delicious.
Yes, it is.
All right, let's jump in with our guest today as we continue with part 2 of Dr. Increase as we expand your search. All right, we don't want to waste any time today because our guest has been with us on the last program. He was our first guest, and he is a wealth of help and knowledge today, and I'm so excited to bring him back on the program today for part 2. Please welcome back Dr. Increase, Bob Harrison. There he is. Hey, Bob, man, welcome back. It's good to have you back on the show again. And,
greetings from sunny California.
Yes, and it's actually sunny here in Florida today too. It's really nice.
That's great.
We live in the places where very few people can say that. So,
several years ago, I made the decision. Why not live where you like the vacation? So here we are.
That's great. That is great. That's such an awesome idea, and that's really literally where Jody and I were talking about it the other day. She said she grew up across the street from Disneyland, and our kids are growing up across the street from Disney World. So it's a great place to do it.
Sounds kind of Mickey Mouse to me.
So, as we wrapped up the last show and brought in this show, we really have been trying to figure out a way of the best way possible for our audience to really experience fresh increase in their lives in 2021. 2020 was such a train wreck. We want to see them really get some positivity back into their life, and so I know that that's a big key for you. Ever since I've met you, the very first time I met you, I felt like walking away. I told Jody, I was like, I feel like I have a toothache. He's so positive. It's and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, it's like I was smiling the whole time, and the positivity plays a real big role in your life and ministry, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm convinced that success is not determined so much by what happens around you as by what happens within you. And we can't control what's around us many times, but we do control and can control what's within us. And if we have strength, spiritual, physical, mental strength on the inside, then we can have times of great opportunity and victory in negative seasons on the outside. But on the other hand, if we're like the outside, there's no difference between the two, or we're less than the outside in the negativity, then we're going to be defeated, and we're going to be depressed, and we're going to not feel any sense of direction in our life. One of my biggest opportunities in my life happened in a nightmare season in America. I mean, there was a gas crisis going on, and gas prices had doubled in 45 days. Now just think about for a minute how you'd feel if you're paying double a gallon for gas 45 days from now. Not only that, they ran out of gas, and gas stations were only open an hour a day. Well, it's a time that people can get depressed and down, but because I wasn't, I was able to seize an opportunity, and somebody gave me 22% interest in a Chrysler dealership to try and save their dealership. And when they were going under, we had that dealership in 90 days time in the top 10 in Southern California for Chrysler stores. And it really, as much as anything else, it was because I was different on the inside. I saw opportunities where they saw problems. And so this season, that we're in right now, it could be a time of great opportunities if we'll just program ourselves, keep believing God, and do our part on staying positive.
So in that, I know that's something that has been, I'm trying to say it the right way, like a splinter in my mind ever since I've heard you've taught on this before, that during difficult seasons to look for the opportunity. Some people are in such a state of panic during the worst of the worst that they go by so fast, the opportunities. What's something that we do to start training ourselves to see those?
Well, as you mentioned in the last program, I start first from a defensive base. I do all I can in advance in going through a crisis to protect what I have, protect my strength, protect myself physically, protect myself mentally. I reduce the amount of negativity I allow into my life because I have to stay strong. So every day I keep track of where I am emotionally, where I am physically, where I am mentally. It's like I get on a mental, physical, and spiritual scale and make sure that I'm doing okay. But from that basis, then, I'm always looking for opportunities. I'm believing that God directs my steps. I believe I'm surrounded with the spirit of favor. And many times they're out there, but people don't see them. But we can see them if we have a different thinking and a different mindset. And so it starts to me with Deuteronomy 30:19. When God said to the tribe, I've set before you life and death, Therefore, you choose life. Every day we make choices, and those choices take us negative or positive. They take us to death or life. They take us into problems, or they take us to opportunities. And so every day I try to choose what takes me to where I want to go. And part of that to me is another verse that's really been a key part of my life, is Philippians 4:8. And it says, whatsoever things are of good report, think in those things. Now, we many times we've heard that verse before, but we missed the most important word in that verse to me. And the word is, if there be any good. Now, I know some people that I don't care what good's happening, they can tell you what's wrong with it, how to make it better, because they're experts on looking for things that are wrong. Well, I've trained myself to be an expert on finding things that are right. So I'm always looking for the any good. And because that's my mindset, I see opportunities, I see good in people, whatever it might be, and I can then take my energies and my strength and my time towards those areas.
All right, I'm going to ask this a little bit different question than probably you're used to, but there's so many folks that they do start doing that, and they run into not just fringe people, but people that are close to them in their lives, that kind of thinking really bothers them. Like, who do you think you are kind of thing, when you're always looking at the opportunity. And that has really stopped people in their tracks, because it starts bothering other people around them. What can you do about something like that when you're wanting to think positive and you're starting to see yourself think positive, and the folks closest to you start just shutting those ideas down?
Well, number one, I try my best to operate with the heart of compassion and understanding, and not be judgmental. It's easy to say, oh, that's too bad. They just didn't catch it and I go on my way. But maybe I can be a vehicle to help them catch what I caught and help improve their life. And so really part of what makes up Bob Harrison is really a caring attitude and wanting other people to go along to the journey, not just so they applaud my journey. I want them to walk that journey with me. And so I'm always looking to try and bring people along, and I think that way. If you'd ask me one of my characteristics of my life, I believe I'm a bridge builder. I try to build people bridges that they can walk across in order to have a better life in any area that they need. And so I think that's one of the keys. The other key is there's some people that they just don't want to put forth the effort. They're happy living a mediocre life. And I'm not going to change them, because that's just the life they want to live. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. But I really feel I am called to leaders, to people that want to make a difference, not only in their lives, but in the lives of other people. And so I dedicate my time and my energy to try and grow and develop leaders. And so I don't let the others, really affect me emotionally, although I always am open to listen to what they have to say to see if it has merit. But I'm focusing on what God's called me to do and focusing on developing leaders.
I can say I know that I've had moments in our relationship where I've been in a place where I wasn't at that, even thinking on the same track as you. And I can honestly say that has been something that spoke loud to me, was that you were able to stop and say, come on, this is why you want to think this way. And you really coached me through that. And it's really been something that's a blessing. And I know that there's a lot of folks out there that are trying to think more positive, and to look at it as you got to bring those folks along with you is great.
Well, Brent, I think the process is, first of all, we choose, we make a choice. That's out of this conscious mind.
Yeah.
And we start forcing ourselves, just like we maybe force ourselves to eat some different food or make some different choices. We force ourselves to make some different mental choices. And we say, I'm going to choose to force myself to start seeing the good. And I'm going to force myself to start talking about the good. Well, as we begin to do that, it becomes a habit. And the habit then causes it to shift down from our conscious mind of something we have to think about doing down to our subconscious mind. And now it is not something we do, it's what we are. And so that's when our life really takes on a different dimension. And so just like if you wanted to go on an exercise program, it's not easy at first. But once you get the routine going, it becomes easier, and you see the results, it becomes easier. And so part of what I would say to people is just start saying, I am going to become a person of the good report. I'm going to start looking for the good. I'm going to start talking about the good. I'm going to start seeing the good and believing for the good. And as we do that, that area will become stronger in our life. Because I truly believe that what we focus on and think about the most is what's going to grow in our life. And so when we choose to make that change, we choose to then start walking down the road to increase.
Now, that brings me to something that I know that we kind of talked about before we came on the air, that there is an empowerment that has to happen to you, because you can't give that out to somebody if you don't have it.
Yeah. You know, you can't give out what you don't have. And so if I'm going to be a leader and I feel called to help other people, then I have to have enough resources, not just for me. I have to have enough resources that I can give out and without depletion in order to be a blessing in the lives of others. And so I'm always thinking of my life of building up my reserves, and you know, and it's just little things that I do. You know, it's like the music I listen to. I might sense that I may be feeling a little bit down or whatever, so I'll start just doing a day or two of intense praise and worship music when I drive around, just to build myself up spiritually. Physically, I as I mentioned in the last program, my exercise, I try to keep myself sharp and alert. But also, you know, I drive a convertible, and I love coming to work with the top down and the wind blowing in my face and listening to the Beach Boys. I find things that empower me.
Yeah.
I've looked for positive triggers in my life, because there's going to be negative triggers. But if I can find positive triggers and I can be triggering myself in the positive, the negative triggers aren't going to have the same effect on me. Plus, I'm going to be able to have enough of whatever I need to be a blessing to help somebody else if I need to.
That is so good. In the last couple of minutes that we have here, I want to talk to, speak to the empowering that you're talking about. That you've done something that's over 35 years now, that you've been empowering people in this very type of an atmosphere. And you have the conferences coming up this year here in the spring sometime. We're still working on the details on that. But talk a little bit about what your vision was behind the Increase events.
Years ago, I began to understand the power of God's word working in my life. And I made a decision that God's word was going to be my handbook on what I was going to base my life on, and try to the best of my ability to use the principles and the strategies in the Bible throughout my life, in my marriage, my personal life, as well as my business. And I began to walk that out, and I found out there was very little out there to help me with that journey. And I said, particularly leaders and business people, they need more input into their lives, fellowship wise and mentally wise and teaching wise and spiritually. And so 39 years ago now, we started doing an event over in Hawaii just to minister to leaders, to take them for a few days, kind of like a youth camp for adults and leaders and achievers. And it's just been immensely successful. People come from all over the world just to come together for idea exchanging, for training. The thing that makes it unique is we have 4 to 7 speakers a day, and we're done at 1 o'clock. So we give the people time to enjoy the resort and time to fellowship with each other. And it's been probably the most powerful thing we've done in our life, is create those events that are ministering to leaders all across the world.
And as those folks come, they're receiving that kind of empowerment that you're talking about. It's like a very intense version of riding in your convertible with the Beach Boys on, only you're total submersion in Hawaii with the beautiful atmosphere and the positive teaching.
Well, that's because it's physical, it's mental, and it's spiritual. So we're not just, feeding one, we're feeding all three. As you know, this last year, our conference was the very last conference at the hotel we were at before the shutdown. And miraculously, we had that right divine week. A week later, it had been a disaster. And the people flew back from that, and they were so charged that I can't tell you how many people had increase when everybody else was having decrease.
Yeah. How
many people were thinking positive, others were thinking negatives. And the reason was that they had taken that time to charge themselves and to come apart.
And some of those folks we had on the show over the last year talking about that. So, Bob, thank you so much for being here. We're going to see you again on the next program. Let's take a moment right now and stop for directions. You know, when you're around somebody like Dr. Increase, it does rock you to your core when you start to see things that are unfolding before you. A challenge arises, something that is coming up that is presented, something that you know in your own mind and your own way of seeing things is going to be a certain way, and then to hear somebody offer a complete alternative that's not even on the radar for you, it does bother you. It does, and it's because we're programmed to think that way. And I know that in order for us to go forward, we do have to start looking for things to be different and start expecting there to be a change. That's the power of positive thinking. But the great thing about it is I don't have to just go through my entire life willing myself to be positive, that the Lord can help me. He said in his word in Isaiah chapter 41, verse 10, it says, "Fear not, I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." And you know, when you're going through challenges and you're facing things that you don't know where the answer is going to come from, don't just look at the negative that you know. Start looking for the positive that you haven't experienced yet, because I guarantee you it is there. There is always a positive answer and a positive alternative to every challenge that you face. Allow yourself to think differently. Allow yourself to be positive. My thanks again to Dr. Increase for coming and being on the show today, and for absolutely challenging us to look at our situations differently. I want to thank Jody and Luke for another great broadcast today. That's going to wrap it up for today. Join us again for the next show, as Dr. Increase will be with us again for part 3, and he's going to be addressing generosity. You won't want to miss that. Until next time, I hope you found what you were looking for as you took the time today to expand your search and stop for directions. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks for joining us today. Connect with us on @expandingyoursearch on Facebook and Instagram, and @expandingsearch on Twitter. Relive any of our episodes on YouTube. We're available wherever podcasts are found, including Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. You can also download the Direction Ministries app on iOS, Android, Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. Take some time today to expand your search and stop for direction.